It's so good to have you on today. So where are you located? Are you in California now?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm located in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, I spent half my time in Barcelona, Spain.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
No.
Why Spain?
Well, you're going to laugh, but we actually asked AI where we should live after retirement.
Really?
And we gave it a list of 5 criteria, and it came back with 5 different cities, and one of them was Barcelona.
Oh,
and since I like hills, we chose that.
Was AI right?
Oh my God, yes. It's lovely. The people are friendly. There are hills. There's the pool. There's the beach. I mean, it's got a lot of things going for it.
Horses?
Oh my. I'm 10 minutes from the Royal Polo Club.
Oh, wow.
It's lovely.
That's fantastic. I can't believe you did. That's the first person that I ever talked to that retired thanks to AI. I love that. I love that. So were you always a horse girl?
Yes. Ever since I was 8 years old, my mother kicked herself for bringing me to my first horse lesson, and I fell in love. And since then, I've been riding horses, took lessons through the horse club in school, and then found every possible way to find riding classes and use my allowance on the weekend. And then I volunteered actually at a place that raised trotters. And this was on Long Island. And they taught me how to train them. And so I went ahead and did that whenever I could. I wanted to work more with horses. And so I found a horse rescue farm. And then one day they said to me, Linda, time has come. You're going to adopt one of these. And so I adopted one of the horses. And it was a horse off the track who loved me until she got better. She healed, and then she said, forget you. I've got my own ideas about what I want to do. So I traded her for another horse off the track. And then I decided, that's it. I've had it with horses off the track. Then I found my horse Vegas, who I've written all these poems about. And it was love at first sight. We just hit it off, and he was my buddy for 29 years, 5 years old.
What type was Vegas?
Vegas was an appendix quarter horse.
Okay.
And his previous owner was terrified of him. He bit everybody in the barn. He was 5. He was nasty. And then I don't know what happened. He just turned and looked at me, and we fell in love. And that was it. He stopped biting. He got along. And the vet said, I got to see this. And he ran over and he saw Vegas, and I were just 2 of a kind. We got on great. We went on trail rides. And this horse that was so mean, I would have my little girl on top of him and trusted him with her. He was fantastic.
Boy, he just hadn't found his person yet.
Yeah, exactly. And he took really good care of me. Like one time I rode him bareback, and we got back to the barn and something bit him, and he shifted his weight suddenly, and I fell off. And I felt like I broke something, but it was a bone bruise. But still, I couldn't get up. So I just called to him, and he lowered his head, and I put my arm over his neck, and he helped me shuffle back to the barn, over to the phone, and then he walked over to his stall while I dialed 911 and laid down, and he just waited. It was amazing.
Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. Usually they take off and leave you there.
I know. No, he always stayed by me. And then there was the time we got lost on the trail. And this is California, and it's desert, and there was no water, and it was really hot. And we found some cows, and we said, okay, let's ask the cows. We talk to each other all the time. And we agreed we would ask the cows where to go. And cows took us and showed us where the water was. It was wonderful. And then we agreed to help each other find our way back, and we did.
Well, you did this book. It's called The Lighter Side of Horse Manure, and we have shared some of the poems here on the show in the past. Is poetry a dying thing, or is it making a comeback? What?
Oh, no, it's definitely making a comeback. First, because people Maybe it's because of social media or video games. I'm not quite sure, but people's attention span is much less. I know mine is much less.
Right.
So I like to get in and get out really fast. And you just like to see the idea, like to get a sense of what's going on and then go on to something else. So poetry enables you to do that. It enables you to play with words on a page. As a writer, it enables you to cope with very difficult situations and to express yourself in a lot of different ways. So I have found it very cathartic dealing with difficult situations. This book is very funny, and it was my dealing with him aging and having a very difficult time. But I have another book called Remember This Day, and that's a very serious book. And that also has horse poems and goat poems, because I also owned 4 goats. And it was about the more difficult side of life. And so I dealt with it that way too.
It's interesting that you're able to do both. You're able to do the serious and the humor, because not everybody is. So there is one poem. There's a lot of poems in here that I absolutely love, because we're a comedy show here. So I mean, I loved a lot of these, but the one that's pretty short too, I want you to read. It's called "Love Does Have Boundaries." Would you read that one for us?
Sure, no problem. And I do have to say, each of these poems is a true story. So I remember that day very well. This is called "Love Does Have Boundaries." My horse has lost his allure. He's rolled in cow manure. It's all over his mane, which is twisted again, his version of haute couture. I stay away from his front, which sadly is gross to be blunt. He nuzzles my face. I cry personal space. He then passes gas with a grunt.
It's so true. I love that one. There's one I'll do a little later in the show. Maybe I'll close the show out with A Horse's Guide to the Seasons of the Year, because that is so perfect.
Okay.
I'll close the show out with that one. So this is a book. It's all poems. It's called The Lighter Side of Horse Manure, and it's all about horses, right? I mean, pretty much. Well, there's a couple others in here that aren't horses in the book, too.
For example, there's one called The Compliment, and it's about a woman who's told by a man that from the rear she looks like a horse. And that is also a true story. That's a friend of mine who came and told me she was so upset because a man told her that. But in reality, she had this gorgeous mane of hair, and so he was paying her a compliment. So I wrote the poem and gave it to her, and then got it published in this book.
There's another one. My wife is in a constant battle with the squirrels eating the bird feed. She has bird feeders set up, and the squirrels are always at them. There's one called Squirrel Amnesia that I really liked. That was a good one, too. She's always fighting the squirrels. Well, this is fantastic. It's a great little book, and it would make a great birthday gift or Christmas gift, a stocking stuffer, and it's available everywhere, right? Where do people buy it?
You buy it, the easiest is to buy it on Amazon, but you can also buy it through Barnes & Noble, online.com, and you can also buy it through the publisher at finishinglinepress.com, through their bookstore. And you can also, I'm in favor of supporting local bookstores. You can go to any local bookstore and ask them to order it as well. Very good. Is there another Manure book in the works? Or are you done talking about poop? I don't know about that. I guess at some point I will have to come up with something. That would be a lot of fun. Well, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And everybody, it's The Lighter Side of Horse Manure. I'll put links to it in our show notes.